average payment. The move will be welcome news not only to seniors, but some 4 million children who also receive benefits. However, the future of Social Security is uncertain. A report earlier this year suggested it could become insolvent by 2035.
Experts estimate recipients can expect an even larger increase, between 8 and 10%. So, yes, Social Security's cost of living adjustment is expected to be higher than average in 2023. The exact dollar amount varies by person, but if the Senior Citizens League's estimate of a 9.6% increase is correct, then the average recipient could...
We have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. You want to continue watching this video because we have a ton of news to cover. So many financial experts attribute the sharp increase in Americans' checking account balances during the crisis to stimulus checks. The U.S. Bureau of Statistics has released data, and it shows the savings rate had climbed 70% in 2020 during the heart of the crisis. What this means is that stimulus checks are going out, and people are getting the stimulus money that they called for. The stimulus checks were sent out had around $0.5 trillion in total, so in fact, Americans have grown their net worth by much more than that, and suggests that many people use the money more wisely to grow their net worth over time. So, the good news is stimulus checks are continuing to be delivered on a state level. In fact, almost half of the U.S. states have provided some additional funds to be eligible for residents this year. This means that those who keep using the cash from the government can hopefully help to ensure that the combined amount of money in Americans' checking accounts just keeps growing over time. The Virginia governor, for instance, had already announced that residents with a tax liability in 2021 are eligible to receive a one-time rebate. It's a single $250 for single filers and $500 for joint filers. To be eligible, residents must have filed there before November and have had a 2021 tax liability. Those who file receive the rebate within 4 months of their file date, and according to the governor's office, rebates being processed on a first-in, first-out basis. If you receive a tax refund by direct deposit this year, you'll likely receive your rebate by direct deposit as well. Otherwise, the Virginia General Assembly will mail your paper check. It's very important to know that states continue to provide more relief to residents, as millions of people continue to try and combat economic pressure. And comment if you have already received your fourth stimulus payment, because I know many of you guys are wondering when you will receive your fourth stimulus check. Well, California has already pulled out a stimulus payment, everybody. California's inflation relief program payments will continue to be sent out through January. This will all depend on how you filed your 2020 income tax return and whether you received the same amount of money in your bank account that you did via direct deposit. It can make a difference between a direct deposit or a physical debit card that will arrive in the mail. If you change your bank account or bank account number from when you have electronically filed your 2020 tax return, you might have to wait a little bit longer. Your payments will still arrive though in a debit card from December 17th to January 14th. You'll begin the stimulus money, but we might need to be a little bit patient with this. California has already paid over $5 billion to 19 million eligible residents and their families as part of an inflation relief program meant to help soften the blow of rising costs. The latest figures represent more than half of the total payouts expected under the program, with the balance of the payments expected to reach eligible residents toward the start of next year. The middle class tax refund aims to pay $9.5 billion to eligible Californians, from $200 to $1,000. And also, let's not forget about this. To be eligible, you must have filed a November 2021 tax liability form, and also those who receive the form will fill out the rebate within 4 months during the latest stimulus check update. Folks, we have a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, and SSDI. Here's the most important news that I want you to know, so continue watching.
In 2018, the Republican Senate was completely finished with NDAA by early August. But on Democrats' watch, the Senate schedule has not matched the nation's needs. We've spent time on less important matters while both the authorization and funding for our service members have languished until the 11th hour. Even now, House and Senate Democrats are still obstructing efforts to close out the NDAA by trying to jam in unrelated items with no relationship whatsoever to defense. We're talking about a grab bag of miscellaneous pet priorities, like making our financial system more sympathetic to illegal drugs, or the phony partisan permitting reform in name-only language that's already failed to pass the Senate earlier this year. If Democrats wanted these controversial items so badly, they had 2 years to move them across the floor. Heck, they could have scheduled those matters for votes this week. But no, we're doing more mid-level nominations while Democrats keep half threatening to take our armed forces hostage over these extraneous matters. So, Mr. President, there's an old saying that goes, poor planning on your part does not necessitate an emergency on the part of other people.
Social Security, SSDI, SI, and low-income households could see big changes coming to their monthly benefit checks. Democrats and Republicans in several states that have started or are working to approve rebate payments or inflation relief checks to taxpayers in 2022 and 2023. Gavin Newsom and state lawmakers have agreed to send in millions of Californians inflation relief checks as high as $1,000. The payments, which are coming out of California's $97 billion budget surplus, will go out as direct deposits or debit cards by 2023. The Sacramento Bee reported that the first payments going out as October were for single taxpayers who earn less than $75,000 a year and couples who file jointly and make less than $150,000 a year. They will receive a $350 per taxpayer and another $350 if they have any dependents. A married couple with children therefore could receive as much as $1,000. State residents of Colorado who have filed their 2021 return by June 30th will get a check for $750 by September, while joint filers will get $1,500. Filers who receive an extension and file by the October 17th deadline will receive the refund by January 31st, 2023. The Delaware governor also signed a bill in April approving $300 stimulus checks to residents who filed their 2020 taxes. Now, if they file jointly, each person receives one of the payments, which started going out in May. The Georgia governor also signed a bill in March authorizing rebates to taxpayers who have filed their state returns for both 2020 and 2021. Single taxpayers can receive $250, with heads of households getting $375, and married couples filing jointly netting around $500. Partial year residents or individuals who owe income tax may receive a smaller rebate as well. And the Hawaii residents who earned under $100,000 in 2021 will get a $300 tax rebate this year, with dependents eligible for the rebate as well. Individuals who earn more than $100,000 and couples who earn more than $200,000 will receive $100 total. Senate Democrats look toward making a new reconciliation package, as Chuck Schumer has already submitted language to the Senate parliamentarian for a proposal to allow Medicare to influence prescription prices. The last time Democrats tried to move forward with a large reconciliation bill, it was shot down by Joe Manchin, who felt it was too costly at a time when the country was already dealing with significant inflation.
Responsible for it, and he took action against those who were responsible. And then I went on to talk more about how that dealing with any opposition to or criticism